is a growing and continuous problem with TikTok detectives talking about the Lindsay Clancy case and saying that you can't believe anything that she says. And there's a very fundamental problem with that entire narrative. First and foremost, people are saying, well, you can't believe that she was in any sort of postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis because she was the one that said she was experiencing postpartum psychosis. And this right here is a very clear indicator that these individuals have never interacted with somebody who is in a mental health crisis, have never interacted with mental health professionals, or been involved in anything that has to do with mental health. Because the number one way that you know information about somebody's mental state is through the person that is having the mental health crisis. I work with a crisis team that I just call up with dispatch and I say, hey guys, somebody's having a mental health episode. Can you have them come out? And these individuals don't just show up and automatically go, aha, yes, schizophrenic. Aha, yes, psychosis. They still ask the person questions to determine what is going on, because it may not always be obvious that somebody is seeing or hearing something. Sure, sometimes you can extrapolate based on the behavior. Are they talking to somebody that's not there? Yeah, sure, but that's not always obvious. So of course, somebody who is experiencing psychosis is going to say, hey, I'm hearing shit. That doesn't mean that it's false, and it doesn't mean that it's fake, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't believe them. On top of that, there's this whole idea of, well, she says she doesn't remember what happened, and the only reason she's saying that she's having psychosis is because her husband, Patrick Clancy, told her. So he's the mastermind and blah, 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 blah. People don't always remember what it is that they did or what it is that they were doing at the time that they had the mental health crisis. That is fucking normal, okay? I got punched in the face by somebody on duty who was having a schizophrenic episode. They had no idea that they did that until somebody later said, hey, by the way, you punched this lady in the face. That is normal. That's not somebody planting evidence and saying, oh my God, I'm gonna pin this on her. That shit happens on a regular basis. All of these things that people are painting as red flags and why you shouldn't believe the woman who's saying, hey, I was failed, I had a mental health crisis, and nobody fucking helped me, is ridiculous. Because, again, right, it's like these TikTok detectives, who, by the way, are predominantly women from what I've seen, which is a little bit ironic, pointing the finger at everyone else for what actually happened. Whether it's Patrick or, oh, well, Lindsay's making it up and she's a fucking liar. Regardless of what you believe, this woman needed help and this woman was failed. And this is not the only case where something like this has happened. And until we get off this soapbox of not believing what women are saying when they are experiencing mental health crisis, especially in relation to postpartum and motherhood, we are going to continue to have this problem. And as long as you're making videos like that, you are going to continue to perpetuate the problem. Don't be part of the problem, be part of the solution. And what that may mean is suspending your disbelief for a second and say, hey, you know, the most logical reason for her saying that she's having a psychotic episode is because she had a psychotic episode. Like, it shouldn't be this difficult. Stop trying to farm content views and get attention and just damaging people in the process. It's so unethical. I wanted to take a moment and talk about the Lindsay Clancy case and really address some videos that I've seen where people are saying, you know, Patrick is the one who actually did the crime, he's framing her, all this other nonsense. And I'm encouraging people to take that with a grain of salt, okay? Is it possible? Sure, I guess. But at the end of the day, what you're doing is detracting from the root of this case, which is postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis. Two things that are very, very real. Two things that, quite frankly, a lot of people don't take seriously, and there's not really a lot of good treatment options for. Lindsay's case is not the first time something like this has happened, and it won't be the last. And if we keep pointing the finger at a man who realistically had nothing to do with what was happening other than maybe being a shitty husband, we are never going to get people the help that they need when they suffer from postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis. And I've seen a lot of people talk about, oh, well, her actions just don't make any sense. If she was trying to overdose on pills, why would she crush them up? Nobody does that when they're trying to off themselves. And the thing is somebody going through psychosis is not going to make a lot of logical sense. It's psychosis. You don't know what she was seeing, you don't know what she was hearing. Legitimately, like, we are trying to put logic to something that doesn't make a lot of logical sense to somebody who is not actively going through psychosis. And on top of that, if the roles were reversed, nobody's going to be pointing the finger at her. They're just going to say the husband did it. We shouldn't be giving grace to women just because they're women. That's another topic that, honestly, I can make a whole separate video on. There's just so many issues with this narrative and this rhetoric that is starting to shift to Patrick did this, Patrick's guilty, I'm smarter than everybody else, nobody else has figured this out yet. At the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, what you see is what you get. It's like I said in my video on the Idaho 4 murders. She had mental health issues. She did not get the necessary help for those mental health issues, and quite frankly, yeah, he failed her as a husband. That doesn't make him guilty of murder. So please, take things with a grain of salt. I'm so tired of the internet detective bullshit of I'm smarter than everybody else and I've proposed this alternate theory that's going to be correct. Is there a minuscule chance that sure, that's actually what happened? Yeah. But realistically, the most logical answer as to what happened is that she had a psychotic episode.